Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now, Charles Leclerc is one of Formula One's most promising young drivers, and as he is a Ferrari Academy driver, it is widely expected that he will be driving for the Scuderia sooner rather than later. In fact, it has been reported over the last week or so that the team are ready to promote him to the second seat alongside Sebastian Vettel as early as next year. But after just 9 races this season, is Charles Leclerc really ready for a move up that Ferrari ladder? Or is it just a little bit too early in his career for such a big move? Quick disclaimer, I guess, before I go any further. As I'm sure I may have mentioned, I am away at Silverstone this weekend, and so this video was recorded on Tuesday afternoon. So by the time you see this on Sunday, Leclerc could well have been announced as a Ferrari first team driver. Last year, when the channel was in its infancy, I did a video on Leclerc and how I believed he really was one of F1's future stars. He was brilliant in Formula 2 last year and delivered some stunning drives along the way. He won the title and ended the season 72 points clear of nearest rival Artem Markelov and 91 points clear of Ollie Rowland. He grabbed a total of 7 wins, 10 podiums and only failed to score on 6 occasions, with 2 of those being due to retirement and 1 a disqualification. All of that led to talk of an imminent seat in Formula 1 and, as we now know, he was given a chance with Sauber for 2018. But it wasn't just F2 where Charles impressed prior to Formula 1. He picked up a total of 16 wins from 94 races, 93 if we just look at championships and don't count Macau, 16 pole positions, 42 podiums, 13 fastest laps, and of course secured the GP3 title in 2016, and as I mentioned earlier, the F2 title in 2017. Of course, it's not just all about the stats. His ability is obvious and his talent is clear to see. You can completely understand why Ferrari rate him so highly. And in 2018, he has once again proven just how good he could potentially be. Formula 2 is very much seen as the feeder series to Formula 1, but that step up is still huge. And to be honest, after the first few races of this season, it did look as though Leclerc was struggling to adapt and that the season could be a tough one. However, all that changed very quickly. He finished an incredible 6th in Baku and followed that up with 10th in Spain. A huge crash at his home Grand Prix in Monaco due to brake failure didn't appear to derail his momentum in any way. The youngster snatched 10th place in both Canada and France before grabbing 9th last time out in Austria. So that is 5 points finishes in the opening 9 races and 13 points on the board already. In fact, his 13 points this season are almost double the number of points Sauber managed to accumulate over the last 2 seasons. And yes, I know that this year's Sauber is far superior to last year's car, and indeed 2016's car, but still, it is an impressive stat. And I think it's fair to say as well that Leclerc has also dominated teammate Marcus Ericsson, who himself has actually had a pretty good start to 2018. So, bearing all that in mind, it's Ferrari for 2019 then. Well, if you caught my 2019 driver lineup predictions video on Friday, you already know the answer from my point of view. And although I would absolutely put him in that seat if I were in Ferrari's position right now, it is still a huge risk for them and Charles himself. As I've said, there is no denying his talent and what he's achieved so far this year is impressive. But that's in a Sauber. There is no pressure in that team. And although people are raving about him and are watching him closely, it's a different kind of spotlight, if you like, to the one he would be under at Ferrari. I think the easiest way to explain this is by looking at Max Verstappen, and to clarify, I'm not comparing the two of them in terms of talent or ability or potential. I'm just comparing their situations and rises to the sharp end of the grid. Before even getting a race seat in Formula 1, there was a lot of noise around Max Verstappen, and he was very much seen as the next big thing. He impressed in his first season at Toro Rosso and was promoted to the Red Bull first team early in 2016. But that put the spotlight well and truly on him. The pressure at Toro Rosso is high because that's the way that Red Bull operate, but at the main team, if you like, it was on another level. But as we've seen this season, every mistake, no matter how small, sees him come under massive criticism. Okay, some of it comes down to his driving style and you can understand the criticism of some of his bigger incidents, but some of it definitely comes down to that high pressure environment of being part of a team at the sharp end of the grid. And that's kind of why I worry a little bit about Charles Leclerc in a way. If the pressure at Red Bull is high, it's going to be even more intense at Ferrari. I'm not saying that he will jump in that car and instantly the world will turn on him, and I don't believe that happened with Verstappen either. And the youngster will get away with the odd mistake, of course he will. And that's assuming he makes any at all. I'm sure he will because every driver does. But that's only early in his Ferrari career. And in spite of that, every single error will be magnified and that is a lot of weight on a young lad's shoulders. But when you look at Charles Leclerc's story, he has been through so much in his life, and I guess if anyone can handle it, Charles probably can. One other concern put forward by some is that he could potentially end up as the next Barrichello or Massa at the team. You know, expected to play second fiddle to Sebastian Vettel constantly. I do get that, and I'd hate to see him have to go through it. But having said that, he has the opportunity to learn from a 4-time world champion, and of course to develop in one of the best cars on the grid. And let's not forget, should Vettel leave Ferrari at the end of 2020, he may well not, but hypothetically speaking if he does, that would mean that Charles has 2 years under his belt at that team, and that is vital experience, and it could well see him as the number 1 driver, with his own number 2 driver backing him in 2021. So I get that concern, but the chance to learn from somebody like Sebastian Vettel, and to establish yourself at that team, is a great opportunity. I guess to summarise then to an extent, would a move to Ferrari be good for him? Yeah, it would. And as I've already said, I would put him in that car without a second thought right now. He's proving himself big time this season. And to be perfectly honest, he is probably on the brink of being ready right now. So with another 12 races under his belt come the end of the season, he will absolutely be ready. And of course, with a whole season's experience behind him as well. Yeah, alright, a second season at Sauber or a promotion to Haas would be a great way for him to continue his development away from the spotlight that I keep talking about. But from a young driver's point of view, if a seat at any top team is offered, you have to take it. There are so few seats available on the grid, particularly at the sharp end. And if you turn around and say, I don't know, no thanks, I'd like to stay where I am for 1 more year and develop a bit more, you may have missed your chance, because F1's next big hotshot could arrive that very next season and start to turn heads. But one last thing before I go. He is already on Ferrari's books, I know that, so he's signed to that team, and so a promotion is pretty much just a signature away. But a cautionary tale I was reminded of at the weekend, that I believe is relevant here and well worth a mention, is that Nico Hülkenberg had a contract with Ferrari on the table for 2014, and that literally just needed signing off by Luca Di Montezemolo. But it never happened, and neither did the move. Which takes me right back to what I was just saying. If the drive is offered, Charles Leclerc must take it. And there is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that he's the right choice for Ferrari right now. As ever though, they are just my thoughts and opinions on Charles Leclerc, but what are yours? Do you think he's ready to move to Ferrari in 2019? Perhaps you think that there's a little bit too much hype around him at the moment. And if you were in Ferrari's position, who would you put alongside Sebastian Vettel next season? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will be back soon with more content as ever, but in the meantime, don't forget to follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.